Oh my
God.
goodness. And
That might be one of the nicest moves that I've almost ever seen. It looks like a move that you see and you're like, oh, there must be a mistake on the board.
What more is there to say but that Alireza Firouzja, king of fashion, had the white pieces in this Armageddon game. He has to win it. Hikaru Nakamura has the black pieces, just needs to draw to get the win. It's the Chessable Masters. This game was played yesterday, 19th of February, and it's an instant classic. And I'll then also update you on the actual tournament standings ahead of the Grand High Wizard Final tomorrow, 21st of Feb. Let's dive into this online chess game. We get e4 on the board, e5, the ponies develop, bishop c4, and after this knight develops, Alireza going for the Gucci Reza piano, of course, named after him. We finally see the clock times update. Hikaru's got less time because if he draws, he wins. And now you could, of course, go for the knight g5 stuff, look to bamboozle black on f7, but d3 instead selected. Now Hikaru shuts it down. c3, bishop c5, and b4 Hikaru can stabilize. That one is kicked. Plus Alireza sets up our favourite bathtub pawn formation. Bishop's chilling with the rubber ducky. You can come this way, but Hikaru comes this way. Bit unusual. Queen b3 attacks the pawn. Castles, of course, played. And now vamos, we see the second pawn pushed on the queen side here. Huge space game. Elongated bathtub. d6 in response. Castles. And now Hikaru, move 9, completely forgets which way his pieces are supposed to move, but not to be outdone. Alireza does the same. He backs up, c6, preparing the thrust in the centre. He backs up again, anticipating that move. Hikaru now pushes p on the queen side there, and you don't want to let the structure get ruined over here with a takes or a takes, whatever. So this one sails right past. Now the knight re-enters the game, and bishop a3. I mean, Alireza is up in Hikaru's grill. Guns akimbo already. What a fight this is. We now get knight h5. Normally a stinky boo-boo to put it on the edge, but it's headed for the counterplay. So g3 shuts it down. This knight now heads to the other side of the board. But you open the bishop. You open the queen's eyes. Maybe you push d5 one day. Now we get Chewbacca's favourite move, the Wookiee one, and after bishop h3, eyeballing the weakened squares, this is just so unique to Alireza, the way this guy sees the board, right? Because everyone and his dog is going knight bd2 here. It's just the move to play, right? But we do not see that. We see king h1. What on earth is that all about? Because arguably the king stood better on this square, to be honest. And after knight f6, Hikaru recycling that one, it was shut down. Again, surely knight bd2, but no, we get knight g1. I mean, sure, Alireza does a lot of pony maneuvering practice along with Hikaru, Fabi. They often do so together. But this is something else, because after the bishop retreats, we now get takes on c6, pawn recaptures, and f4. Alireza roars. I mean, I've not seen a move this aggressive since I was sparring recently with my good friend Leo. Looks like he's playing with the white pieces here. This is incredible. Now we see takes on f4, apparently backing up the knight, slightly more accurate, but this one played, pawn recaptures, big center for white. So Hikaru now strikes back with d5 for the high five. Now he wants Alireza to push on with e5 here, because you gain all of these light squares, right? Knight h5, and it's a little bit difficult to keep the pawns rumbling, so it wasn't played. Instead, we get this awesome move done with an absolute skidoosh as the queen slides 7 squares across the board, or 6 if you don't count the one it started on. Who knows, right? And there's a threat now to go e5, dislodge the defender of this bishop, win a piece. So that's why we see takes. Pawn recaptures and the bishop backs up. Now apparently taking first best, then you can go queen d7, but fine, this was played. But now great switchback, bishop c2. No exchanges for you, sir. A really thematic point, because look, black's got way less space, white's got the center, so keeping pieces on the board favors the side with the space, and what a monster this now is. So rook e8 was played, possibly giving some space or something in the future, just activating a little. Now we see f5 hits the bishop, it slides into c4, this knight develops, and now we see the retreat of the knight. Not the most accurate apparently, but it goes for the dark square blockade, bishop f6 on the way, and there's just one really cool line I've got to show you in a minute. First we see the excellent bishop c1, and Alireza is not setting up the board for the next game. No, he's attacking the king, threatening to take the pawn, so king h7. And now one of the nicest ways to play here is with bishop f4, slow play, but e5 is selected. There's this crazy line now that the engine finds with bishop f6, sacrificing a piece, but to then take here, try and alleviate some pressure. But Hikaru plays king h8, natural to step off this gaze here, but now there's a huge attack coming. Rook g1 goes for the mate here, rook g8 covers, and there's f6 now possible to really just rip open the position. I think I mixed up, by the way. There was a line I was going to show you where the knight develops and the bishop gets here and you sacrifice a rook for a huge attack, but I forgot it, I missed it. Anyway, there's some great attacking ideas, and this is one of them, not played in the game. Idea is, if you capture opening the rook, well then the queen slides over, and this is actually a checkmate in one threat. So you take here, of course, king recaptures, and now yes, there's a check, a bit of counterplay, but white should be good because of the long-term pressure, the bishops. Now it isn't so obvious, knight takes on e5 for example, and if you crash through here, king g8, the king can technically run, the queen can slide in somehow. Okay, let's say here, white has to be a bit careful too. Alireza didn't go for it. He instead plays knight b to d2, finally, but Hikaru centralizes, a wooden shield as he'd call it. Now we get knight e4, a seahorse is born, and unbelievably, there's only one move here to keep white with this +1 pawn advantage, and it's bringing the knight all the way back.
Mushrooms.
Also a possibility, apparently. But the move played in the game was knight takes on c5, and you can definitely understand why it's a big mistake. This one's a bit dead, right? But suddenly it springs to life. That wasn't possible while the knight stood in its way. Remember, we're the side with the space. If you're playing white, we want to keep pieces on the board, not off it. Suddenly the rook is dislodged as well. The knight springing forward, the bishops are active. This is an octopus that Stoctopus can be proud of. Bishop f4 is played. Rook b8 takes the only open file, or second open file. Actually, no, this is a half open file. It is indeed the only open file. No, it's not. I'm talking a load of rubbish. The d file is open. This is why you should never listen to epicchess, but do consider subscribing if you've got nothing better to do. Thank you. And what was played here now is an absolutely massive blunder. What should you do? Well, apparently the only move to keep an equilibrium is bishop e4, but not played by Alireza. What does he do here? He picks up his queen and goes to h3, and look at that, the butt flap falls out of Stock Barnacle, pooping its pants here. I mean, we haven't seen a blunder this big since Hikaru went to their hairdressers and forgot to tell them to cut both sides of his bob. Wasn't his greatest day at the office. What's the follow-up move here? How did Hikaru finish the game basically on the spot? Very well done if you saw this idea. The title thumbnail maybe gives it away. It's queen h4. What a move.
Queen h4, oh my god, queen sacrifice. Oh my goodness.
God.
And
that might be one of the nicest moves that I've almost ever seen. It looks like a move that you see and you're like, oh, there must be a mistake on the board.
Because if you capture that queen, which is offered, you can't take with the knight, by the way. There's a pin. Well, then this slam shut, a checkmating trap. Trying to remember what this is called. I feel like it begins with L or something. Lapels, mate? No, not sure, but it's got a name, right? The two bishops ganging up on that king, really cool. So the queen is untouchable, and what do? The bishop's attacked, so is the queen attacked. Say you go queen g3 to cover it, and now you can take, pawn recaptures, this one drops, and after king h2, not only are you a piece down, you're about to be a second piece down because of this pressure down the second rank. You know, you can cover for a moment, but knight c2. This and this and this and this, just absolutely game over. I'll even show you a checkmate that I clicked through. Wow, so this is brutal. We see king g2 tried. Now this is played, you could even checkmate in 3 with this, this and this. Quite surprised that Hikaru didn't play this, but fine. He just snaffles the bishop. Good enough, because it's still forced resignation from Alireza. He's 8 pawns down, you know, when you run it with the bar here. Hopelessly over, of course. What a turnaround. Hikaru won that one, faced Magnus in the first final, so to speak. Magnus won it. I covered that game. I'll link it on screen at the end of this video. And now today, Hikaru also advanced, but the games were a bit boring today. So he now faces Magnus in the grand final once again, right? But he's got to win twice against Magnus, because if he wins first time, Magnus gets the reset odds due to the format. Hope you enjoyed anyway, and have a look at the video on screen if you didn't yet see that epic encounter between Magnus and Hikaru.